Hi, I'm Andrew Armstrong and welcome to the back office. You can see here I'm working on a keyboard, and this is the second Microsoft Natural Ergonomic keyboard that I've spilt coffee on in probably the last 3 months. And the first one went in the bin because it was just knackered, and this one is going to go the same way if I can't get into it quickly enough. The old one, you know, it was a few years old, so I kind of let it go, you know. I just thought, oh, I'll let it go. I think I've got my money's worth out of it, but this one, you know, it's hardly been run in really. And so these aren't particularly cheap keyboards. In fact, I'd say in the whole scale of the keyboard world, they're one of the more expensive ones you're likely to buy as a commodity consumer keyboard. So what I'm doing is taking out the infinite number of screws it seems to have. And I'm hoping to get in there because it really buggered up the last one. I couldn't, to be honest, I was kind of surprised. I'm not really sure how keyboards are assembled anymore. I haven't looked into one for a while, but clearly they're not really a robust mechanism. I'm suspecting it's probably some flimsy membrane that just gets dashed, but I'm absolutely hoping I can get this working because, one, it's not just like you're dumping a bunch of money in the bin, and two, I need a frigging keyboard. Woo! Angry at myself. Unbelievable. And it's one of those coffee cups that has a bloody lid on it too. So how it just spat out ever so slight amount of coffee, but just enough. And I thought, oh great. The first thing I did, I got in there, PCB cleaner, and just drenched the bloody thing. And I thought, yeah, I'll get that coffee out of there, but clearly it hasn't done the trick. So that's all those done. I'm just going to have a quick look at the under the edge before I go nuts. Yeah, I can't tell if it sort of dismantles from the top or from the bottom, so we'll try from the top. A few drops of coffee there spilling out still. And then we'll, if that doesn't work, we'll flip it over, try from the bottom. But just doing that last little double check there's no screws behind the label. Seems to be okay. They've made it pretty user serviceable, to be honest with you. Oh, it does feel wet. Just got to figure out how this front edge is done. I wish I didn't throw away the last one. I should have tried to service the last one, so at least I could see how it sort of come apart. I'm suspecting I'm going to need to work this front edge. Oh yeah. So I can see the membrane there. Just peering. I'm peering just sort of inside. Yeah, it does look. It's sort of gripping on tenaciously as if there's something I haven't sort of undone, but okay. But I think it's just a clip. Look, these are quite nice. I didn't realise that this padding, look, it's actually done on properly. So if that ever gets knackered, you could technically upholster this, or upholster it to match your environment. Let's take this one off too. I see. Right, so once you get that bit off, you got a couple more screws to contend with in here. Look, one there, and then one there. That should be pretty much, though, all she wrote, I think. Get in there. Just gonna check there's some sort of magic clip mechanism by this sort of front thing here. Yes, there is. Yep. What is holding you in? Again, very it definitely is a membrane anyway, I can see that much, but tack switches on these, believe it or not, proper tack switches. Come on, what's holding you? One last little thing. I'm wondering, just going to go take a chance here. Let's just see gently if the space bar can come up, because it seems to be something around here sort of just biting it, and it could be a bit of a bitey screw still. Yep, I do see a screw. Don't break the space bar. You broke it. There's a screw right there. Got to figure out how to get this space bar out. I'm just going to... It does have one of those sorts of mechanisms, you know, the bloody space bar with all the metal work. Come on. Actually, at this point though, really, if this happens to you, just run it under a bloody tap. You can't go wrong at that point. What is holding that in? Right, I'm going to jump cut. Yep, took some brute force and ignorance, but I've got in there now. Just be a bit careful, the keys, space bars do have that sort of metal work that you need to pry off. That's what it looks like, by the way. Come on. Now there are these two screws here, which also appear to be under some sort of tension. Come on, tick tock. Oh, yes. So that is more or less fine. I think you can just rinse that under a tap. That is going to be good. I'm glad they sort of holding all that in screws. That can just be cleaned up. Clean that any which way you want. A bit of pledge. That'll be fine. Right. But this, so you can see the more obvious signs. It stinks like coffee as well. Ugh. There we go. It wasn't even a good coffee. It was instant. Instant, damn it. It's kind of complicated keyboards. I can see why they're more expensive than the traditional ones. They've got loads of PCBs and whatnot, don't they? So just get the dead skin off. Dead skin. So you're going to have to go wash the dead skin. But the reason this has failed, it's not because of the dead skin, it's because of this construction. Look how this is now. You're going to like this. If you haven't seen this before, it's what you get in a lot of cheap calculators, and it's basically a membrane, and between the two membrane are the contacts. So look, it's actually almost adhered to the plastic. So the best thing to do with that, I think, is to just take that whole thing out and give it a bloody wash. And that's it. Give it a wash under the sink. Bit of washing up liquid. I think that's all that one can do, and not scrub it. Not scrub it too hard at all. I'm just going to put all these bits though, kind of, I was going to say kind of how I took them off, so I can remember, but yeah, so, God, they're soaking wet. Disgusting. Disgusting. Right, so I think this is going to more or less discombobulate as expected. Apart from here, we just need to make sure where we've got it attached to take it off that PCB, and that's pretty much entering the danger zone. Because a big clamp here. Oh, stinks like coffee. Oh. Saved by the bell. Coffee through the danger zone. You can still use the same process, look, if you want to repair its USB wire. Okay, and then just unplug it from that PCB, this PCB in here. I think that should be it. That's it. I'm going to go wash this and see you back here in a moment. Right, I'm really too busy. I'm too busy to be doing this, and ironically, I went to get my other sort of spare keyboard, which is a wireless thing. Doesn't work. Change the batteries, doesn't work. Not another keyboard and mouse in the whole house. So I drove down the road, borrow one, just because I got a meeting, and did the meeting. It's like, now, right, that's it. Got to sort this bloody thing out or bin it. Sort it or bin it. The story of my life. Maybe I should make that a book title. Story, fix it or bin it. It's going to be mainly bin it, I think, in my life. I certainly having trouble fixing stuff at the moment. Trying to sort of figure out how this works, really. It's 3 layers, I know that much. I can tell you that much. It was 3 layers, and you've got this separator layer inst between, which is a little bit grubby now. But again, I'm kind of having trouble. Ah, phew, thank crikey on that. It does say here, look, bottom. I'd have been in big trouble there, guys. Now, it's slightly grubby. I do feel that if you're doing this, you might take a touch more care than I did, and maybe try to wipe these all down as you're sort of going along. In fact, I've got a bit of dirty, it's kind of damp rag, but you know what? No. Don't touch it, just leave it alone. I'm going to just get this out of the way, little PCB out of the way. So grab the other bit of membrane. So these membranes, they all came attached, by the way. So if you're detaching them, make sure you take the effort to very carefully punch them apart. You'll see they've got these sort of little small tear points. If you rip them very savagely, you're going to rip the whole sort of tracking off this, so just be very cautious. You'll see what I mean. Just be cautious, you'll see what I mean, and you go, Andrew was right. Andrew was right. Come on now. I'm getting a bit loopy, I have to admit. I'm drinking a lot of coffee. A lot of coffee. I got a lot on, and I'm just pounding down that coffee, chugging it like it's going out of coffee fashion. And I think that's leaving me bonkers, basically. I'm sort of just losing it. Going totally doolally. Okay, trying to find some Twizzlers. I've got some here. Phew. I thought I was really hitting the bottom of the barrel and sort of losing my tweezers. So this looks like to be the most awkward thing to do. Just get that thing back in. That's not too bad. The weird thing is, I've never used any of that. I don't really know what it does or what it's for. Right, got our bracket. Good, we're on the actual putting it back together stage. I do like that. That's sort of slightly reassuring, and I'm kind of hoping it's worked. Last time we had a machine that sort of succumbed to something similar. The tracking, it had just burnt itself out. You could see it had just gone black, basically. And I don't know if it had burnt itself out electrically or if it had just basically insta-corroded. I can't remember what the chap had spilt. This is basically probably the 3rd Microsoft Natural Touch whatever keyboard we've lost in the company, basically. And so I suppose they've got a pretty hard life, but they're used as programmers. We're programmers at the end of the day, and we use them as programmers' keyboards. So they get a pretty heavy life. But I wouldn't use anything else now. I'm so used to them, and probably all that cleaning and drying. I could have just cleaned these, couldn't I? Yeah, so they're pretty heavy used. But again, I said I won't use anything else now. They're amazingly good on your hands. Sort of, it's bizarre, isn't it? This shape. You're looking at this. Some of the membranes down at this level, some at this level. It's a really quite a marvel, really, how it works. But yeah, if you ever suffered from RSI type things, I would say try one. This is, and if you do coding and stuff like that, stuff which requires touch typing, try one, because it basically will improve your touch typing no end, like amazingly. And I think definitely I've talked to people who are skeptics, and once they've tried them, they've kind of eaten their hat, because I was right and they were wrong. Suffice to say, I had the last laugh. No, not really, but yeah, definitely it's sort of changed how they do things. Where's that boy from? find that in a second. Let's get this one in, come on. So it does have these little holes, thank gosh, these little locatey pegs. Ah yes, I found ya. Right there. Reet neat. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I'm just double checking. There's nothing pinched and everything seems more or less in the right place. Bit of a hair there. Cat hair. Ziggy is taken to sleeping in... Ah, hang on, we're missing a thing here. Ziggy is taken to sleeping in more obscure parts of the back office now, so I have to be careful I don't lock him in and then return to a trashed office. That would be very disconcerting. I'm never sure if I should be calling this an office or a lab. It's a kind of combo deal. This area is definitely the lab though. Right. Okay. We are inserting it. I think that's gone on alright. Yeah. The keys certainly feel okay. They're sort of returning. Some of them were after the sort of incident were feeling very, very sticky in terms of they weren't returning. Not quite sure how that works. It must have been, if you think about it, you know those suckers that were on the end of a toy bow and arrow as a kid? I guess the keys must end up doing that. So if they're wet, they end up being like these little suckers and then sucking on the plastic when they get down there. Let's get that bad boy in there. Come on. This screwdriver's pretty crap. While I'm hand tightening that, I'll get a better dealy whopper. There we go. Boom. Urgh. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. And moving it I shall be. Moving it over to my desk. Fully working. That is the hope. Look at this. This is an opportunity here to lose a bloody screw. Oh, I need a magnet. Let's magnetize. She asked me if I'd like to magnetize. So I hope you're finding this keyboard construction fascinating. I've just been out. When I went out to get this keyboard, I did notice in an app which is called Spock. Someone locally was selling two, not one, but two laser printers for the princely sum of 20 Earth pounds. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a little check this out because, you know, I like printers. I like laser printers, and the thing with laser printers, often they come with a bit of toner, so it's like, yeah. So I went over there, and yeah, to my surprise, it was two laser printers for £20, and one of them is basically a multifunction. I think we're ready to flip. No, we're not. One's a multifunction with Wi-Fi, and it's a black and white laser printer with multifunction with Wi-Fi. And the other one is a Hewlett-Packard Color LaserJet 1600. I do like Hewlett-Packard LaserJets because they just sort of last forever and ever and ever. And that's a Color LaserJet with Ethernet. And I was just like, yeah. I don't know if it's got Wi-Fi. I haven't even got that far with it. But I printed the test page, and it all worked. They both worked. The scanning thing scans okay and prints black and white, which is a bit weird actually. I'm not used to multi-functions that obviously are not color because we use an inkjet one, and it's a specific Canon one, which is quite cute because it has an app, but it's very specific because I can get refactored cartridges for it for next to nothing because I buy them in massive bags of the cartridges because it's like a full set is like £4. Oh, I lost a screw. Bugger. But yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I'm probably gonna drop, you know, a set of toners on that LaserJet soon enough. I think a full set on eBay is going to set one back about 70 quid, but for a high quality colour laser printer I think that's fine, and it's going to pay for itself because even though the inkjet, the multifunction inkjet cartridges I currently use are pretty cheap, with kids, you know, they go through them a lot, so I think all in all I'd probably prefer the LaserJet. It might not even work out that much cheaper, but it has those bigger paper trays and all of that, so I just won't have to mess with it. However, it isn't multifunction, so you know. So I do have a small Dell black and white laser printer I use for back office work, and you might have seen it printing out stuff like that. It's not great. It has a lot of problems in that its toner is running out. So I'm not entirely sure it's worth replacing, because I've had 2 of them pretty much for free. The sort of thing people chuck in the skip. And I've had quite a lot of use out of it, but I need to start thinking of my bangonomics properly, and like, okay, you've got your use out of it, you've got shitloads more printers now, let's get rid of some of them or give them away or do something. So please comment down below if you can think of a better way. I want to get rid of these old things, but I can't take them to like the charity shop or whatever, because they'll just bin them, to be honest with you. It's an electrical item, and it's, I know they're not going to sell it, just put it that way. So the only other option is take it to a recycling centre, and that's crap. These are working things. I don't want them discombobulated. Someone will have that. They'll either use it as is with a bit of dodgy toner. They'll put up with a couple of odd streaks in it. In fact, they'll probably just shake the toner and get another few hundred pages out of it. Or they'll just buy a toner. You probably get one off eBay. The fuser, everything's good. So how do I reach those people? How do I get to them? Right. That is all of those. Let's flip that over, make sure it's all sensible. Yes, that seems okay. I'm going to plug it in and I shall report back. Bollocks! This lot's dead. These buttons are dead, and that's kind of how the other one died. I'm so annoyed. Look, it's still got the wrappings on! Please comment down below, let me know what I should do. Shall I open this up and have another go, or shall I just bin it and spend the 50 quid or something on a new one, which I'm really annoyed about having to do? Or do you think you can fix it? Let me know. Okay, I am back in. After using a regular keyboard for a while, it started to annoy me, and it annoyed me the fact that it's these few keys, and possibly these ones. These are control keys, so they're harder to tell, but these keys not working. So I thought I had to just have a look. There's just absolutely nothing obvious here, so I'm gonna have to sort of maybe trace out the circuit board. 1, 2, just these 3 frigging keys. Totally unserviceable. Bloody thing! I'm pulling this thing apart now, just going through the circuit, everything. It's just zany. It's crazy. I can't even work out how it works. I think it's capacitive because these traces on these boards overlap each other. They actually aren't separate circuits half the time. They seem to bloody overlap. So you've got 2 layers of them as well. But then when you study them, you realise actually a lot of those are actually on the same layer. I don't know. If there's a break in the trace, I'm having trouble finding it. And even if I did find it, I'd have no way of repairing it because it's made out of ink drawn on a piece of plastic. So yeah, I'm definitely signing off now. I'm definitely signing off. It's killing me. It's killing me to play with this now at this point, because I know I'm going to have to scrap keyboard with all these great keycaps and great layout and great structure just because it's not serviceable, and there's no way I can even adapt it to use any other technology because there's no way you're going to get a membrane in there. Okay then, bye.